All right, if you've been asking me or Googling what's happening in the Redlands real estate market, this video is for you. I get this question constantly at open houses, at coffee shops around Redlands, at school pickups, and honestly, the answer right now is more interesting than it's been in years. So today I'm going to break it all down. Prices, inventory, mortgage rates, and what it actually means if you're thinking about buying or selling in Redlands or Southern California in 2026. Let's get to it. All right, let's start with the number everyone wants to know. What are homes actually selling for in Redlands right now? As of early 2026, the median sale price in Redlands is sitting around $625,000 to $650,000, depending on which source you're looking at. It's a slight dip from the peak we saw a year ago. We're talking about 3 to 6% lower year over year. Now, before you panic or get too excited, this is not a crash. This is a correction. And there's a huge difference. What we saw in 2021 and 2022 was a market that was overheated. Bidding wars, waived inspections, people paying $50,000 over asking, that wasn't sustainable. What we're seeing now is the market finding its footing, and that's actually healthy. The median list price is hovering around $700,000 to $740,000, and homes are closing at about 98% of the asking price. So sellers are still getting close to what they're asking, but buyers also have a little bit more breathing room to negotiate than they did 2 years ago. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, mortgage rates. For the past 2 years, rates have been hovering around 7%, which basically froze the market. A lot of buyers got priced out. A lot of sellers refused to give up their 3% rates from the pandemic era. That's what people call the lock-in effect. And it was the single biggest reason inventory stayed so low. Here's the good news. Rates have come down. We're now in the 6 to 6.5% range, and forecasts from Fannie Mae and others are projecting rates could continue to close closer to 6%, maybe even below by the end of 2026. What does that mean in real numbers though? Buyers working with a $3,000 monthly budget can now afford roughly $25,000 more home than they could just a year ago. In a market like Redlands where homes are in the mid 600,000s, that's a pretty significant shift in who can actually qualify. If rates do hit 6%, expect buyer activity to pick up fast. The window where buyers have leverage may be closing. All right, buyers, now this one's for you, and here's my honest take. Early 2026 may be one of the better entry points we've seen in Redlands in several years, and here's why. Prices are slightly off their peak, rates are coming down, and the inventory is higher than it has been in the last couple of years, meaning you actually have options. And sellers are now more willing to negotiate than they've been in years. Now, will the prices drop dramatically? The data is saying no, but analysts are forecasting modest appreciation of 1 to 4% in the Inland Empire in 2026. That means waiting isn't likely to reward you with a big discount, but it might cost you if rates drop and the demand surges. The Inland Empire as a whole, including Redlands, remain one of the most affordable entry points in all of Southern California. If you've been on the fence, the message from the data is clear. Get pre-approved, know your numbers, and be ready to move when the right home comes up. The window of buyer leverage is real right now, but it won't last forever. All right, if you are a seller in Redlands, here's your honest assessment. The day of throwing up a sign and getting 20 offers in a weekend, that's not the market we're in right now. But that doesn't mean it's a bad time to sell. It just means you have to be more strategic. Homes that are well priced and well staged and well marketed are still moving fast. We're still seeing homes sell at 98% of the total asking price. And we're still seeing about 22% of homes sell above the listing price. That's down from 40% last year, but that's still nearly 1 in 4 homes. What sellers need to avoid right now is overpricing. The data shows price reductions are up about 43% of active listings in Redlands. The homes sitting on the market are almost always the ones that came in too high. If you're thinking about selling, the strategy is simple. Price it right from day one. Buyers in 2026 are informed. They're using AI tools, Zillow, Redfin. They know the comps. Don't give them a reason to skip your listing. All right, next up, we're going to talk about inventory. This is the number that tells you who really has the power in the market right now, buyers or sellers. In Redlands, we're sitting at about 90 to 120 active listings depending on the week. That's a little over a month's supply, which is still on the low side. A balanced market is typically considered 4 to 6 months. So yes, it's still technically a seller's market in terms of supply, but here's what's changed. Homes are now sitting on the market for an average of 55 to 75 days, compared to 43 days this time last year. That extra time on the market is meaningful. It gives buyers time to think, gives them time to inspect, and time to actually negotiate. The sweet spot for sellers, though, February through July has historically been the strongest selling window in Redlands. If you're thinking about listing, now is the time to start preparing. All right, so let's recap what we covered today. The Redlands median home prices are sitting between $625,000 and $655,000. Slightly off the peak, but still stable. Homes are taking between 55 to 75 days to sell, giving buyers more time than last year. Mortgage rates are easing, approaching 6% and may go lower by the year end. Sellers who price right are still getting strong results, but overpricing is a real risk. Buyers have a genuine window of opportunity right now before rates drop and demand heats back up. Whether you're buying, selling, or just keeping an eye on the market here in Redlands, I want to be your local resource. If you found this helpful, subscribe so you don't miss the next update. And drop a comment below. Are you thinking about buying or selling this year? And if you want a free home valuation or just want to talk through your specific situation, the link to reach me is in the description. I'm local, I know this market, and I'm here to help.